G'day traders, we're going to wrap up of Friday the 27th of April. On the daily chart here, here's the daily candle that we're going to be talking about today. So we started today with a little bit more of a buyer's perspective. Like we've spoken about the last few days, we've had this really kind of sideways area, but the sellers were in control and they're holding underneath this 1390 sort of area, and that was kind of sellers territory, and it kept holding as a resistance. Now these buyers have come up, and on Thursday, for those that were around on Thursday, saw that we broke significantly through that resistance, which now is going to act as a bit of a support. Already on this particular Friday in the pre-market, it came down and around that 1390 area again, bounced straight off it. It's already tested it once, so it's really acting as a support. You can see we're up in this buyer's territory now. So with today, my perspective was, probably buyers around. Look out for the buyers. But keep in mind also, we should have a bit of directional moves both ways, because on this Thursday here, this was sort of the breakout day into the buyers, and we just all went in one direction. Didn't have any sellers hardly whatsoever. Barely hit any lower power points. So when you see something like that, very, very rarely happens 2 days in a row. So even though there's buyers around, have a buyer's perspective, really did expect the markets to go both ways. So having a look here, overall, we did get definitely some multiple directional movement. Start off with these sellers, so they're pushing down after jumping well above that resistance area that we talked about around about 1390. They're coming back down, looking like they want to give it a bit of a test and maybe even bounce off it. So as these markets coming down here, certainly not interested. As the market's now starting to pull back, if all we had to go on was this market, we're looking for some sort of retracement and sell again. So in this kind of situation, bearing in mind that there's buyers around, and we're probably looking to come down and bounce off some sort of support down here. When we do get some sort of retracement here, really not interested in looking at any sells at this stage. You can see that any sort of sell trade here is going to be a low percentage trade, and that's where you could really start incorporating the dailies and having a broader perspective. Some days, it's not so important. On this particular day, it is a little bit more important. So you can see here, it's pushed quite through easily, and headed back up. Any sort of power fade around this area, and you can see on the 1 minute chart, I thought was a bit of an option. So this one here, you can see it came up first here. It would have stopped out if you had taken it there, but that's way too early. You don't want everyone to take it first up. You want to get a bit of a confirmation. Just get rid of that. You want to see some confirmation, then go again. So you can see it's come up, pull back, form this little bit of a shoulder, then gone again, and you look to enter here. So it would have pushed up, come back a little bit, but eventually got the money. Keeping in perspective, everything that's happening at the time, this is a good power fade. The next one's not a bad area either. It's getting a little bit later, but you can see overall it, eventually would have worked as well. It would have been a long trade, but eventually would have worked. So that's all through this area where, typically you might look for it to bounce and push down, but considering the overall view, we're going the opposite direction. And okay, there's going to be some power on the upside here because we've come down, bounce, we're going to go up the buyers. And that's a great place to look for power fade, especially when you see it kind of bounce down and then come again. And you get that confirmation, you can feel really confident in those areas. From there we pushed up. We've got this bit of a sideways range. I was really looking for a bit of a retracement somewhere here, and and then buy again and see the market, because there's a good chance it's going to at some stage go back up and test these highs again, which is exactly what it did. So around here we got a bit of a 5 minute fade, but we're looking for it about 15 minutes earlier. So let me show you on the 1 minute chart. Here's that area. Okay, you can see it's very flat. By the time we actually get the signal, it's what happens is the area is still most likely to work. Like there's no doubt the area is still going to push higher, but when you get some sideways movement like this, it might just have a bit of a drop down before it goes. So just put your stop under a little bit of pressure. So you want to see these sort of areas happen a little bit quicker than it did. So around here you can see it's come up. Ideally come get it around about here and then go. But for me to be able to take the signals just at the time, just a little bit sideways. But overall, hopefully you guys can see the area is pretty good. From there we pushed a bit higher, had a bit of a shoulder form here, and then gone again. And here they've come back up and tested the cash market highs. From there, again, they've had a little bit of a pullback, and this is getting very late Friday afternoon. So again, it's hard to really look to take anything getting this late in the afternoon. But what they have done is they've pulled back. It looks like, and you can see this area where we went sideways. They've used that as a bit of a support, bounced up, and then they've really pushed down. I had a little push down in the afternoon, so just to show you that on the 1 minute chart. So here's this downtrend. while I'm watching this downtrend, looking at other markets too, they're all starting to get holding formations and looking like they're building to the upside. Consolidating that upside view on the dailies. And there's these two power fades, which were really, probably the two of the better opportunities of the day. Then we went through this very sideways action. Then we had a continuation of this uptrend, basically bounced off the cash market highs, and then here in the afternoon you can see quite sideways, but with a little bit of a push down. But anyway, a few opportunities there. But it was a Friday's trading. It was a little bit slow. But like I said, a few opportunities and definitely something to look at there. So let's wrap up for Friday, and I'll speak to you guys on Monday.